You will never find another. You will never find another lady quite like me. Quite like me. Quite like me. You will never find another quite like me. Quite like me. Quite like me. You will never find another. Hey, hey, and you will never find, and you will never find, and you will never find another. You will never find another. You will never find another lady quite like, and you will never find, and we will never find, and we will never find another person quite like you. What up? What up? My name is Dr. Kristen.Guillory, and I am so grateful, so excited to share a little something with you today. I am a former professor, a former therapist turned business and speaker coach. I have been speaking and training for over 15 years. I have spoken over 1,000 times to over 100,000 people. Some of the topics include ethics and mental health and self-care and public speaking and cultural humility and so much more. In August of 2014, I took, at that time, the biggest step in faith I had ever taken to leave my tenure track professor position in order to pursue entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship was never a goal of mine. Like, it was never hashtag goals. I felt led by the Lord to leave. I didn't want to leave. I told the Lord no. I told him I will leave when I have everything lined up. Y'all hear me? I told the Lord I would leave when I had everything all ready to go. This journey has been difficult. This journey has been amazing. This journey has been beautiful. And I'm so grateful that this journey has brought me to this point today where I'm able to hang out with you just a bit. So that song that you heard in the beginning, you will never find another, you will never. The very first class during the very first semester of my very first full-time professor position, I played that song in class. I know that on the first day of class, we want to know what's in the syllabus, right? We want to know what's due. We want to know how many tests. We want to know all of that. So I knew that. But before we got to that, I played that song. I played that song in class. I had my students stand up and I introduced that this was my theme song. The next semester came and I started the first day of class. And about 30 minutes in, I see a hand. A hand goes up and I said, yes. Dr. Guillory, where's your music? Where's your theme song? And I was like, how do you even know about that? They said, that's what everybody talked about last semester. That's what everybody was saying. There's this new, cool, young Black professor who has music, and that's what everybody was talking about. So I said, y'all, there's no other professor who is playing a theme song, let alone a hip hop theme song. And y'all, on the inside, I was also thinking, I'm already one of the youngest professors here, already one of the only Black professors here, and I don't need to do that. I don't need to stand out like that. My students were like, so that's what everybody said and talked about, and that's what everybody loved. And so y'all, in that moment, I decided that I would never hide who I am again. And I wonder if you have ever dimmed or hidden your light. I wonder if you've ever been told that you're too loud, or you're too much, or you're too creative, or you ask too many questions, or you're too quiet, or you're too energetic. I wonder if you've been told some of those things. And I wonder if those things that we've been told we're too something, or we're extra, or we're assertive, I wonder if those things are part of our gifts. I wonder if those things are part of our gifts that we've been given to bless the people. I wonder. I wonder what you're hiding today. I wonder what parts of you and your talents and your gifts you're hiding because it doesn't fit, because you think that you're supposed to hide who you are. But let me tell you something. Don't ever dim your light, because if it is too bright, they can put on sunglasses. I believe in showing up fully as who we are always, always. As a speaker, I believe in showing up on stage as who I am. People ask me all the time, Dr. Guillory, are you like fully yourself even at corporate events? For show. I sure am.
Y'all, I had an opportunity to speak at NASA. Okay, come on, NASA. And I referenced a song by Young Jock called It's Going Down. Meet me in the hey, it's going, because that's part of my story. That's part of my PhD story. And I actually danced on stage at my PhD graduation to that song in my head. So do I show up always as who I am? Yes, but I recognize and understand that society hasn't always given us the opportunity and permission to show up. So let me tell you right now, show up. Whatever that looks like for you, show up. You have the right to say no. You have the right to implement boundaries. You have the right to celebrate other people. You have the right to celebrate yourself and lean into joy. You have the right to have the successful business and do whatever it is you've been called and led to do. Show up. Show up. And I believe in showing up even more so when we have the opportunity to speak in public in any capacity. Whether you want to be a public speaker or not, if we have a business, if we have any type of product, any type of purpose, any type of mission, public speaking is going to come up. It's going to happen. And I believe that what we do should be exactly who we are, represent in that way. I believe that we need to present always a stellar talk and a stellar message. And how do you do that? Well, guess what? You're in luck. I am going to teach you count on two of my signature frameworks. Okay. I'm going to teach you two of my signature frameworks. I have been honored to coach over 1,000 people in the area of public speaking. They have learned to show up as who they are, create signature messages. They have monetized their messages. They have launched full speaking businesses. And whether that is your goal or whether you know that you have something of value to offer the people and speaking might come up, this is for you. This is for you. I had the opportunity to work with an organization who helped people put together their business pitches. And what I learned from the funding entity, they said these businesses seem really great, but we were disappointed in the presentations. Most of these business owners did not present their business in the way that it deserved. Most probably had not worked on their public speaking. The person who won the grant, they said, did not necessarily have the best business, but they presented in the best way. So my question for you is, are you presenting your passion? Are you presenting your business in the best way? Framework number one, I am going to walk you through my signature I recognize statement framework. This, if you will, is kind of like a remix of the elevator pitch. You know what I mean? Like the elevator pitches, it's just like a remix. All right. There are three parts. Count them three. There are three parts to the I recognize statement. And this is a framing tool that is beneficial in so many areas. This is a framing tool for your message. You can use this framing tool for your business. You can use this framing tool really for anything. You can use it in networking meetings. You can use it for fundraisers. You can use it in business pitches. You can even use it in a job interview. I recently had somebody text me and she let me know that she used the I recognize framework in the interview. And she said this was the most comfortable she had ever been. And she got the job. She is now director of a particular department at a particular university in the United States. Now, look, I'm not pretending that it was all the I recognize statement, but it was a tool that was really helpful. There are three parts that go in the statement. The first is who is your target audience? Who is your target audience? Go on, if you're taking notes, go on and jot that down. Who's your target audience? You might be thinking, I could have multiple audiences, but for the sake of this activity, I want you to select who. Who's your target audience? High school students, women entrepreneurs, moms, Black men. Who is your target audience? Who are you seeking to support with your voice, with your product, with your services? The next blank after who is problem. What is the problem you are seeking to solve among your target audience? What is the problem? So let's say you're seeking to support moms, and the problem you're addressing is that I recognize that moms don't have enough time to do everything they want to do. I recognize that moms struggle with implementing self-care for themselves. I recognize that high school students at times feel overwhelmed when it's time to apply to college. What is the problem you are seeking to address with your products, with your business, with your services? What's the problem? Maybe you sell hair, and the problem is, you know what, I want women, or getting hair or getting our hair done takes far too long. That's the problem. Whatever it is, what's the problem? All of our services should be filling a problem. Every talk that you give is essentially filling a problem. We want you to be a motivational speaker. What's the problem? Maybe there's a lack of motivation in the audience. So we have your who, we have your problem. And y'all feel free to pause this when you need to, because we're going to get this statement done. Okay. Okay. And we're saying, I recognize. So I recognize that our target audience faces, deals with, struggles with your problem, period. That's the first sentence. Well done. Well done. Second and final sentence, and our final blank is, what is your solution to that problem? That essentially is the what you are doing. So if I recognize that moms are often overworked and don't have the amount of time to rest or the amount of time to implement self-care, my solution. So here's what we're going to say. I'm passionate about providing mom strategies in order to. I'm passionate about providing opportunities to. I'm passionate about teaching this. Whatever it is, whatever your product, your service, your business, your talk is doing. I'm passionate about doing this. You should be able to create this for every business, every talk, every product you have. So let's recap. I recognize that your target audience struggles with, faces with, deals with your problem that you're addressing, period. And then I'm passionate about doing what is the solution to that problem. So the statement would be, I recognize that far too many people who have a desire to speak are not showing up fully as who they are on stage, and at times are afraid to ask to be paid. I am passionate about helping these clients to walk in the freedom and fullness of who they are, and the freedom to know that they can charge for what it is they do. Right? That's an example. I recognize that women have so much pressure on our shoulders. I am passionate about providing a space and opportunity so we can remove some of that pressure and walk in a little bit more peace. What is it that you're doing? So I recognize that target audience struggles with, deals with this. I'm passionate about. That's your first framework. Get it? What, Millie? Hey. Okay. So again, work on it. It has to feel good for you. And I'm going to throw in a bonus area for this first framework. The bonus is, before you say I'm passionate, I want you to add a personal connection, meaning I recognize that women very often feel overwhelmed due to the pressures of life. As a woman who once felt overwhelmed, I'm very passionate. Or as a mental health professional and a woman who once felt overwhelmed, right? I recognize that women who are survivors of violence often experience this. As a survivor, I desire to. I am passionate about. Does that make sense? Yeah. So add a personal part right before the I'm passionate piece. All right. So that's your first framework. Once again, work on it. It needs to feel good. And I have another bonus for you. I challenge you to post your I recognize statement on social media with a picture of you. Here's what I mean. Picture of you. Picture, and then like if you're on Instagram, picture, and in the text area, put your I recognize statement. I challenge you, and use the hashtag of this program, and feel free to tag me in it if you would like. Use it. People have got money, scholarships, clarity, connections just by that, because it allows us to frame what it is we do in about a 10-second statement. All right, that's framework 1. Let me give you framework 2. I believe that anytime we have the opportunity to share in front of an audience, whether it is 2 people, 2,000 people, 2 million people, face-to-face or virtual, that it is a privilege and an honor. Whether I have the opportunity to share for 60 seconds or 5 hours, it is an honor. Especially if I am presenting my business, especially if I am talking about my passion. What I tell my clients is, you have got to have a stellar talk. You've got to have a stellar talk. How in the world do you create a stellar talk? The most important thing with creating a stellar talk and knocking it out on stage is being exactly who you are, is being authentically you. Because you can command a room by being exactly who you are, period. No more, no less. You can command a room by being exactly who you are. Real talk, okay? Like real talk. I've gotten clients who saw me on social media say like, what up, what it do? And they were like, I saw you say what up, what up. I want to be like that. I want to be more comfortable. I spoke at an event a couple of years ago, and it was a training. I led 2 trainings for leaders across the state of Texas. And at the end of it, there was a woman who came up to talk to me, and she was in tears. And she said, I have never seen a Black woman command the room the way you just did. You came in here with your personality. You came in here with your braids. You had us laughing. You had us dancing. You were teaching us. And this is a room with people who didn't look like us. She said, see, I'm a Black woman. I'm an attorney, but I kind of hide my hair because I have an afro, and I don't often tell everybody I'm an attorney because I don't know. That was a pivotal moment for me. That moment when I was a professor was a pivotal moment that I'm going to show up as who I am. That was a moment for me that I truly recognized and saw, oh my goodness, me just being me and showing up as me could potentially give other people permission to show up as who they are. And so I do. And I do, regardless of the situation. So with that stellar talk, number one, be you, whatever that means. Whatever that means. If you like to say, what up, what's up, hello, hola, hola, whatever it is, be you in the space. If you like music, incorporate music in your talk, okay? If you like poetry, if you like dance, if you like quotes, if you like traveling, if you're able, incorporate that in your talk. I am a very, very, very proud aunt. Very proud aunt. You will see in just about every training or workshop or keynote that I give, you will see a picture of the nephews in that thing. Okay. Show up. That's number one to creating a stellar talk. Number two is you've got to make sure that your content is good. You've got to make sure you have good content that you're presenting. So be you, have good content. Number three is don't you ever wing it. I think winging it is so disrespectful to the audience, to the craft, and to the gift. I think it's so disrespectful to show up and you haven't practiced or thought about what you want to say at all. I think it's disrespectful. Maybe you're not writing out your entire talk. Maybe you're not writing out an outline, but at least are you thinking about it? Are you working on it? So make sure that you are you. Make sure you have good content. Make sure that you're not winging it. And then I want you to make sure to use my Guillory Signature Talk framework that I'm going to teach you right now. Let's get it. This is a 6-part framework that I have not only used myself, I have created, I've tested it, and I've taught everybody who's ever been a part of any of my public speaking experiences, one-on-one coaching, group coaching, public speaking workshops, or my speaker boot camps. And I want to teach you. This is a 6-part framework that you can literally use in every type of speaking environment, a workshop, a keynote, a training, a 3-minute message, a 3-hour training, whatever it is, you can use this framework. Part 1 of the signature Guillory Talk framework is your powerful opening. I think it's really intentional that we are intentional about our opening. I think it's really important that we're intentional about our opening. It doesn't have to be anything long or loud, but instead of a good morning, good evening, if that's not language you normally use, how can you start your talk? A song, a quote, a story, a question. How can you start? Even if it's, what's up, y'all? What up, what up? Good to see you. Like, how can you start your talk? That is powerful. That is powerful. Generally, I start mine with music just because I love music like that. That's part one, your powerful opening. Part two is your brief introduction, which is your I recognize statement. What? You already have part two done? Yeah. You just slide into your I recognize statement. If your powerful opening is something like you can command a room by being exactly who you are. What's up, y'all? My name is Dr. Kristen.Guillory, and I recognize that women struggle with. What? You better slide it in there. Y'all feel that? Okay. That's number two. Part three is your story. I think it's so important to incorporate a story into what you do. It doesn't have to be long, it doesn't have to be multiple stories, but give us a story. Give us a story that connects. Give us a couple of stories that connect to this overall message. Give us a story. You can command a room by being exactly who you are. What up, what up? My name is Dr. Kristen.Guillory, and I recognize that far too many people who have a desire to speak are not walking in the fullness and freedom of who they are because of fear and doubt. And I am so passionate about helping them to walk in the freedom and show up fully on stage and in life. It was the first day of my first semester as a professor, right? Just go into the story. What? All right, that's part three, your story. Part four are your tips, your strategies, your questions, whatever you're going to offer. Like, what are you giving the folks that they're going to leave with? It could be 1 to 5 things. Maybe you have a whole framework and you want to teach like a 10-step process. Whatever it is, be very clear about what you're teaching right here during the tips. And here's a bonus part for the tips. If I can ask the question how after you share a tip, explain how. Like a tip could be, don't give up. Okay, but tell me like maybe what to do if I've already given up. Tell me how not to give up, right? Tell me how. Implement self-care. Great. Give me an example of self-care. Break it down a little bit more. Instead of saying self-care, consider saying, strive to take moments throughout the day to pause and breathe. Or have a no social media zone. Break it down even more. So part one is your powerful opening. Part two is your brief introduction, AKA that I recognize statement. Part three is your story. Part four are your tips and strategies that fit with everything you're sharing. Part five is a very brief closing, like really, really brief. I'm so grateful that I was able to hang out with y'all today. If you want to follow me on social media, you can follow me on Instagram at Dr. Kristen.Guillory. Literally the word or the name you see on the screen, remove the period, push it together at Dr. Kristen.Guillory. That is my Instagram. Right? Maybe you don't even say that. Maybe your brief closing is, I'm so grateful for this opportunity to share with you all today. That's the brief closing. And part six is your powerful closing. How are you going to end it? Is there going to be a challenge? Are you ending it with music? Are you ending it with call and responses? Are you ending it with some affirmation? Are you ending it with some breath work? Are you ending it with a call to action? How are you ending it? Be very intentional. And this is even for if you are leading a virtual experience. Maybe you are hosting a virtual event, a virtual workshop. Be intentional about how you end it as well. So I'm going to recap the Guillory Signature Talk framework. Part one is your powerful opening. The powerful opening doesn't need to be any more than about 10 seconds, nothing long. Part two is your brief introduction or that I recognize statement. Part three is your story. Slide into the story. Part four are your tips and your strategies and what you're offering, questions to consider, things to ask, things to think about, whatever goes there. Part five is a brief closing. I'm so honored to be here with you all today. Part six is your powerful closing. Your powerful closing. I promise you, if you use this template, you're going to see and feel your talks being a little different. Be as flexible as you need to be. This needs to feel good for you. This needs to represent you. About an hour ago, I was chatting with a client of mine and we worked through this framework. I taught him this framework. He had an opportunity to speak virtually to a high school in his hometown. And he said the feedback that he got, he was like, I've never had a reaction like that. He said, I've never put together a talk like this and got a reaction like that because we worked on his powerful opening. Initially, he was just going to get into it. Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm so grateful to be here, which is fine. Like, no judgment with that. That's fine. But then his story is about he grew up in an area that wasn't the best and wasn't as safe. And now he's an executive and all of this all these amazing things. And he was like, I kind of started from the bottom. And I said, started from the bottom, now I'm here. Hey, like the Drake song. He was like, yeah. I'm like, do you like that song? Do you like Drake? He was like, yeah. I said, how about that's your opening? And he did. He said when he did that opening, the students loved it. And the teacher said, hey, started from the bottom, now I'm here. Then he said at the end of his talk, because he used the framework to perfection. He said at the end, a student unmuted and said, oh gosh, this was so good. Thank you so much. And he was like, I've never gotten that reaction. I've been leading and speaking and doing these things for years, but I've never gotten that reaction. And I said, what it is number one, you were you. Y'all remember? Number one, you were you. Number two, you had good content. Number three, you didn't wing it. He said in the past, he might have gotten on that stage with no preparation. He was himself. And when you prepare everybody, when you prepare for what it is you want to say, you're able to connect at a heart level, which I think is one of the most important things to do after being you. We're able to connect at a heart level by being who we are. Connecting at a heart level allows your audience to lean in just a little bit, lean in and listen to what it is you are sharing, because you're sharing from your heart. You're sharing from a place of authenticity. You're taking us on a journey with you, whatever journey that is you want to take us on. So with that, I hope that these tools are helpful for you. I hope that the I Recognize framework is beneficial. Use it, use it, use it, use it. And if you like, post it on social media. Post it, watch, and see how it feels for you. And then have this 6-part signature talk framework in your back pocket, because I want you to show up. I want you to represent your business, your product, your voice in the way that you know it deserves to be represented, in the way that you know it deserves to be represented, by doing a little bit of work and not winging it. As I said, don't you ever dim your light. And if your light is too bright, they can put on sunglasses, because you are not too anything. You are not too much, too loud, too quiet, assertive, extra. You're none of that. You want to know what you are and who you are? You are enough. You are enough, and you are fabulous. You are enough, and you are absolutely fabulous. I would love to stay in contact with you. I would love to answer any of your questions. Feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to download the freebie that you'll have. Feel free to reach out to me. My Instagram is Dr. Kristen.Guillory, Dr. Kristen.Guillory. That's on Instagram. Push it all together. I would love to support you in any way, because remember, you are enough and you are fabulous, and you can command a room by being exactly who you are. Y'all got it? You got it? Deuces.